everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Easy English Podcast. I'm Hannah, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, Alex. How are you today, Alex?
Hi, Hannah. I'm doing great, thank you. And a big warm welcome to all of our lovely listeners around the world. I'm really excited about today's episode because we are going to tell a story. It's a story about a very common yet super stressful situation. Have you ever borrowed something important from a friend or a coworker, Hannah?
Oh, absolutely. And every single time I do, I get a little bit nervous. I always think, what if I break it? What if I lose it? It is a big responsibility. Today, we are going to share an everyday story about a character named Sam. Sam borrows his colleague's brand new laptop for a huge presentation. And, well, let's just say things do not go exactly as planned. He accidentally spills a few drops of water on the keyboard.
Oh no, just hearing that makes my heart beat faster. That is the ultimate nightmare. In this episode, we will focus on some really useful English phrases for when things go wrong. We will look at how to express sudden panic, how to explain a mistake politely to a coworker, and how to offer to pay for the damage. It is all about being polite, honest, and taking responsibility in English.
Exactly. It is a fantastic way to learn polite, professional, and everyday vocabulary. So let's start our story. Meet Sam. Sam is a marketing specialist at a busy company. Today is the biggest day of his year. He has to give a presentation to the company directors. But just 1 hour before the meeting, his own computer suddenly crashes. It won't turn on at all.
That is terrible timing. A complete disaster. In English, when a machine suddenly stops working, we often say it crashes or it dies. For example, my phone died right before I could call a taxi. So Sam's laptop dies. What does he do next, Hannah?
Well, Sam starts to panic. He runs to his colleague, Sarah. Sarah is very kind and always has the latest technology. Sam asks her, "Sarah, my computer just crashed. Can I please borrow your laptop for my presentation? It starts in 45 minutes.
And Sarah, being a wonderful colleague, says, "Of course, Sam. Just be very careful with it. It's brand new and I haven't backed up my files yet." Here, the word borrow is very important. To borrow means to take and use something that belongs to someone else, with the promise to return it soon. For example, "Can I borrow your pen for a second?"
Yes, and the opposite word is lend. Sarah lends her laptop to Sam. So Sam takes the laptop to the meeting room. He is very grateful. He sets up the presentation. He is feeling nervous, so he sits down and pours himself a small glass of water. He puts the glass right next to the laptop keyboard. Alex, is this a good idea?
Never. That is rule number 1 of using computers. Keep liquids far, far away. But Sam is stressed, so he doesn't think about it. He starts practicing his speech. He's gesturing with his hands, waving them in the air, and then suddenly, bam, his hand hits the glass tips over.
Oh my goodness, the immediate panic. Fortunately, the glass was not completely full, but a few drops of water splash directly onto the keyboard. Time seems to stop. Sam freezes. In English, when we say someone freezes, we mean they are so shocked or scared that they cannot move. He is just staring at the water on the shiny new keyboard.
I can feel the panic from here. What does he do in that exact second? Does he scream? Does he run away?
He doesn't scream, but his heart is pounding. He quickly grabs a tissue from his pocket and starts dabbing the water. Notice the word dab here. To dab means to press lightly with something soft, like a cloth or a tissue, to absorb liquid. You don't rub because rubbing might push the water deeper into the keyboard. You just dab it gently.
That is a very useful word, dab the water. Sam dabs the keys quickly, but he is terrified. He thinks, did the water get inside? Is the keyboard going to stop working?
The presentation goes well because the laptop still works during the meeting, but Sam cannot focus. He is feeling so guilty. The guilt is eating him alive.
Yes, guilty is that bad feeling you get when you know you did something wrong. Even though it was an accident, Sam knows he must tell Sarah. He cannot just return the laptop and pretend nothing happened. That would be dishonest. So after the meeting, he walks back to Sarah's desk. His legs feel like jelly.
Oh, legs feeling like jelly is a great idiom. It means your legs feel very weak because you are extremely nervous or scared. So, Sam approaches Sarah. How does he start this difficult conversation, Hannah? What are the polite words he uses?
By the way, if you are enjoying this story and finding the vocabulary useful, taking a second to like this video or subscribe really helps our channel reach more English learners around the world.
It really does. And if you have any questions about these workplace phrases, just leave a comment and we will answer you. Anyway, back to our laptop emergency.
He starts by being very direct and honest, but also very apologetic. He doesn't make excuses. He says, "Sarah, thank you so much for letting me borrow your laptop. The presentation went really well, but I am so sorry, I have some bad news." This is a very polite way to prepare someone for bad news. "I am so sorry, but I have some bad news."
That is perfect. It is much better than just saying, I spilled water on your computer. It prepares the other person. How does Sarah react when he says that?
She looks worried and asks, "Oh no, what happened? Is the laptop okay?" Sam takes a deep breath and explains clearly. He says, "While I was preparing, I accidentally tipped over my water glass. A few drops spilled onto the keyboard. I wiped it up immediately with a tissue, and the laptop is working fine right now. But I feel absolutely terrible about it."
This is a great explanation. He uses the word accidentally. This is a key adverb when we make mistakes. It shows we did not do it on purpose. I accidentally dropped my phone, or I accidentally deleted the email. It softens the situation because it was an accident.
Exactly. Accidentally is a very useful word because it tells the other person that it wasn't your intention to hurt their property. And notice how Sam describes the action. He says he tipped over his glass. To tip over means to accidentally knock something so that it falls on its side. You can tip over a vase of flowers or tip over a cup of coffee. It is a very common phrasal verb in English, especially when we talk about spills.
Yes, tip over is perfect here. And another great word he used was wiped it up. To wipe up means to clean a liquid from a surface using a cloth, a sponge, or in Sam's case, a tissue. He wiped up the water immediately. That shows he tried his best to fix the situation right away.
But even though he wiped it up, water and electronics are still a very scary mix.
They really are. That is why Sarah's face changes. She is probably thinking about her photos, her documents, and how expensive laptops are. She says, "Oh, I see. Thank you for telling me, Sam. I appreciate your honesty."
This is a wonderful phrase to use when someone tells you a difficult truth. I appreciate your honesty. It means you value the fact that they did not lie to you.
It really shows maturity, doesn't it? Instead of getting angry immediately, Sarah acknowledges that Sam did the right thing by telling her. But of course, she is still worried about her laptop. She might be thinking, is the keyboard going to stop working tomorrow, or will the motherboard get damaged?
Yes, and that is why Sam immediately offers a solution. He doesn't wait for her to ask. He says, "I want to make this right. I would like to take the laptop to a repair shop tonight to have it checked. And of course, I will cover any costs for the repair or if any parts need to be replaced."
I want to make this right. That is a beautiful phrase. It means you want to fix the mistake you made to make the situation good again. And I will cover the costs is a very professional, polite way of saying I will pay for it. In English, we often use to cover when we talk about paying for expenses. For example, don't worry about the lunch, I will cover it. Or the company covers my travel expenses.
That's a very helpful vocabulary point, Alex. To cover the costs sounds much more polite and reassuring than just saying, I will pay. It shows that you are taking full responsibility. You are not trying to negotiate or make the other person pay for your mistake. And Sam also says to have it checked. This is another great structure. To have something done. It means you pay a professional to do a service for you. You don't check the laptop yourself. You have it checked by a technician.
Yes, like I need to have my car repaired, or I'm going to have my hair cut. It is a passive-like structure that we use all the time in daily English. So Sam is offering to have the laptop checked by a professional. How does Sarah respond to this very generous and responsible offer?
Sarah sighs with a bit of relief. She says, "That is very kind of you, Sam. Actually, there is an official service center just down the street from our office. If you could take it there, that would make me feel much better. I really need this laptop for a big project next week, so I hope it is okay."
That is a very reasonable response. She doesn't demand that he buys her a brand new laptop immediately, but she agrees to let him take it to the official service center. This is a great detail because an official service center will use original parts and will know exactly how to handle the liquid damage. Hannah, liquid damage is a term we hear a lot in tech, isn't it?
Yes, liquid damage is the official term for what happens when water, coffee, or juice gets inside an electronic device. When you buy a phone or a laptop, the warranty usually does not cover liquid damage because it is considered the user's fault. That is why Sam offering to pay is so important, because Sarah's warranty probably won't help her here.
Exactly. If she took it to the store and said, it stopped working, they would open it up, see the water indicator inside, and say, sorry, this is liquid damage, you have to pay. So Sam is saving her a lot of money and stress. But tell me, Hannah, what happens next in the story? Does Sam take the laptop to the shop?
He does. As soon as the workday ends, Sam carefully packs the laptop into its bag. He doesn't turn it on again because he knows that keeping a wet device turned on can cause a short circuit. A short circuit is when electricity flows where it shouldn't, which can destroy the computer completely. So he keeps it turned off, which is a very smart move.
Very smart indeed. If you ever spill water on a device, the first rule is turn it off immediately and do not turn it back on. Do not even try to see if it still works. Just keep it off. So Sam goes to the service center. What do they tell him?
He arrives at the service center and explains the situation to the technician behind the counter. The technician is very calm. He says, "We see this all the time. Wet keyboards are our #1 repair request." He tells Sam that they need to open the laptop, dry the internal parts, and check if any water reached the main board. He says it will take about 24 hours to be sure.
24 hours? That means Sam has to wait a whole day to find out if he has to buy a whole new laptop or just pay for a small repair. That must be a very stressful 24 hours for him.
Oh, absolutely. He barely sleeps that night. He keeps thinking about the worst-case scenario. The worst-case scenario is an idiom we use to describe the most terrible thing that could happen in a situation. For Sam, the worst-case scenario is that the laptop is completely dead and he has to pay $2,000 for a new one.
Yes, we often talk about the worst-case scenario and the best-case scenario when we are planning or worrying. The best-case scenario here would be that the water didn't go deep, the keyboard is dry, and there is no charge at all, or maybe just a small cleaning fee.
Exactly. So the next afternoon, Sam's phone rings. His heart is beating so fast. He answers, and it is the technician from the repair shop. The technician says, "Good news, Sam. We opened the laptop and cleaned it. The water did not reach the motherboard, but a few keys on the keyboard are no longer working. We need to replace the keyboard itself."
Oh, that is actually a huge relief. A new keyboard is much cheaper than a whole new laptop. Did they tell him how much it would cost?
Yes, they did. They said the total cost for the new keyboard and the labor would be $150. Labor, in this context, means the work done by the technician to fix the machine. So $150 in total.
That is not too bad considering the worst case scenario. But now, Sam has to do the hardest part of the whole situation. He has to go to work, look Sarah in the eye, tell her what happened, and explain the solution. This brings us to a very important topic: how to apologize and explain a mistake in a professional way.
Yes, let's break this down step by step. This is extremely useful for anyone working in an English-speaking office or even just talking to friends. The first step is to be direct and honest immediately. You should not wait for the other person to find out on their own. You need to initiate the conversation.
To initiate means to start something. So instead of waiting for Sarah to ask, "Hey, where's my laptop?" Sam goes directly to her desk as soon as she arrives. He says, "Hi, Sarah. Do you have a quick minute to chat? I need to tell you about something that happened yesterday." This is a great way to start.
It is. It shows respect and responsibility. The second step is to apologize clearly and take full responsibility. You should avoid making excuses. For example, Sam shouldn't say, "The coffee shop was too crowded," or "The cup was slippery." He should just state what he did.
Right. A bad apology sounds like, "Well, I spilled water, but it wasn't really my fault because the desk was unstable." A good apology is simple. "I am so sorry, Sarah. I made a mistake and accidentally spilled some water on your laptop keyboard yesterday after the presentation." Notice how he uses the phrase, "I made a mistake," and "I am so sorry." There is no shifting of blame.
Yes, shifting blame means trying to make someone or something else look guilty. Sam takes full ownership. Now, the third step is to explain the action you have already taken to fix the problem. This is key. You don't just present a problem, you present the steps you are already taking to solve it.
This is so important in a professional setting. If you go to your boss or colleague with only a problem, they have to do the work to find the solution. But if you say, "Here is the problem, and here is what I have already done to fix it," you show that you are proactive. Proactive means taking action to control a situation rather than just waiting for things to happen.
Exactly. So, Sam says, "As soon as it happened, I turned it off to prevent damage. I immediately took it to a professional repair service downtown. They opened it up to check the internal parts."
That is perfect. It shows Sarah that Sam didn't just ignore the issue or try to hide it. He took action immediately to protect her property. And then comes the fourth step, explaining the current status and offering a clear professional solution.
Right. Sam explains the repair details. He says, "The technician confirmed that the main computer is perfectly fine, but the keyboard needs to be replaced. I have already authorized the repair, and I am covering the entire cost myself. It will be ready tomorrow afternoon. In the meantime, I would be happy to lend you my personal laptop if you need one for work today."
Wow, what a fantastic response. Let's look at the phrase authorized the repair. To authorize means to give official permission for something to happen. Sam didn't wait and ask Sarah, "Should I pay for it?" He just took care of it. And he used the phrase covering the cost. To cover the cost is an everyday business idiom that simply means to pay for something.
Yes, "I will cover the cost" sounds very professional. It is much more polite and reassuring than saying, "I will pay." It shows that you are taking complete financial responsibility, and offering his own laptop as a temporary replacement is the icing on the cake.
The icing on the cake is a wonderful idiom. It means an extra good feature that makes a situation even better. Even though the situation started out bad, Sam's thoughtful offer of his own laptop makes his apology incredibly strong.
So, how do you think Sarah reacted to this step-by-step apology?
Well, if I were Sarah, I would still be a little shocked at first. It is always a shock to hear that your expensive laptop has water damage. But hearing that it is already at the repair shop, that the main board is safe, and that Sam is paying for everything would make me calm down very quickly.
I completely agree, Alex. Knowing that the problem is already being solved takes away 80% of the stress. In the story, Sarah was actually incredibly relieved. She took a deep breath and said, "Oh, Sam, thank you for being so honest and taking care of it so quickly. I was worried for a second, but I really appreciate your responsibility. And yes, please, if I can borrow your personal laptop for this afternoon's meeting, that would save my life."
That is a perfect happy ending to a potentially terrible situation. It shows how good communication can save working relationships. Now, since we promised our listeners a practical review, let's break down the best phrases we can use in English when we make a mistake and need to take responsibility and offer to pay for repairs.
Let's do it. This is the part of the episode where you might want to grab a pen and paper or just repeat after us to practice your pronunciation. Let's start with the first step, admitting the mistake clearly and immediately. A great phrase is, "I am so sorry, but I accidentally," followed by what happened. For example, "I am so sorry, but I accidentally knocked over my glass." It is simple, direct, and honest.
Yes, simplicity is key here. Don't make long excuses about how the desk was slippery or how someone else bumped into you. Just say what you did. Another excellent phrase is, "I take full responsibility for this." This is a slightly more formal phrase, but it is extremely powerful. When you say, "I take full responsibility," you are telling the other person, "You do not need to fight me on this. I admit it was my fault."
That is such a strong phrase. Let's practice saying that one. I take full responsibility for this. It sounds mature and professional. Now, once you have admitted the mistake, you need to offer to fix it. This is where we talk about money and repairs. What are some good phrases for that, Alex?
Well, we already mentioned "I will cover the cost." You can make this even more specific by saying, "I will cover the full cost of the repair," or if the item is completely broken and cannot be fixed, you can say, "I will pay for a replacement." To replace something means to buy a brand new one to take the place of the broken one.
Right. Replacement is a great noun to know. You can say, "Please let me buy you a replacement." Another variation that is very common in casual settings, like with friends or family, is, "Let me make this right." For example, if you break your sister's favorite coffee mug, you might say, "I am so sorry. Please let me make this right. I will buy you a new one today."
Oh, "let me make this right" is one of my personal favorites. It shows that you care about the person's feelings, not just a physical object. It means you want to restore the good relationship. Now, what if you need to take the item to a professional shop, like Sam did? What phrases can we use to explain the plan?
You can say, "I would like to take it to a repair shop to get an estimate." An estimate is a guess or a calculation of how much the repair will cost. It is a very useful word. You can tell your colleague, "I will take your phone to the repair shop tonight, get an estimate, and let you know the cost. But don't worry, I am paying for it."
Exactly. And if you have already gone to the shop, like our character Sam did, you can say, "I have already arranged for it to be repaired." To arrange for something means you have made all the plans and set everything in motion. It shows incredible initiative.
It really does. Let's look at one more phrase for when you want to make sure the other person is not inconvenienced while they wait for the repair. You can say, "In the meantime, you can use my," or "While it is being fixed, please feel free to borrow my."
That is the ultimate polite gesture. "In the meantime" is a great transition phrase. It means during the period of time between now and when the repair is finished. For example, the shop will have your car ready on Friday. In the meantime, you can drive my car.
These are such practical, real-world phrases, Alex. I hope our listeners never find themselves spilling water on a colleague's laptop, but if it ever happens, they are now fully prepared with the perfect English vocabulary to handle it with grace, honesty, and professionalism.
Absolutely. It is all about turning a bad situation into a moment of trust. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening and practicing your English with us. Keep learning, keep being honest when accidents happen, and we will see you in the next episode of the Easy English Podcast.